Okay, hello everyone. This is our first episode of the Women Wisdom Collective, this project that I just created, and it's all about women's wisdom and my desire to share that with as many women as possible. And today I have the pleasure to introduce you to Cassandra. And if you know her already, we'll get a little bit more in the detail and the depth of who Cassandra is and what she brings to the world. And so Cassandra and I met several years ago, and we've been working together with DoTERRA for almost 2 years now. And I feel it's the best way to start this project with Cassandra, who's the woman that introduced me to this incredible world of plant medicine and expansion and personal growth. So yeah, Cassie, if you want to give us a little bit of your background and how that has helped you in your current business and situation, and then we can go from there.
Sure. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I guess I would start with my journeys around the world. Like you, I spent a lot of time in India and Southeast Asia, Mexico, Australia, really learning from the healers and the teachers in those countries. I loved working with the old medicine women and learning from them. I worked at health retreats and really just tried to spend time with wise local people in those areas to learn from them. So that kind of started my journey on to natural health and wellness. And from there, I went on to continue my learning through IIN, Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I became a health coach. Also did yoga teacher training in India and started teaching yoga and meditation. And then from there, I really was a little bit lost as to what to do next. I wasn't making the income that I had hoped. And I really was so attached to the lifestyle of traveling. I really love to travel and to not just go on trips, but actually to live in other countries and to spend time and really absorb the cultural differences and experiences in those countries. So I felt a little bit lost at that time and was really seeking a way to make money and also make the impact that I wanted to make, which brought me to doTERRA. I got to doTERRA when I was pregnant, and I was, again, planning on traveling with my husband and my new baby. And I also wanted to be at home with my baby. I didn't want to have to go to work 8 hours a day and leave my child. So it came at the perfect time, and I know that you resonate with that. You travel and you have a family, and that's kind of where I'm at today. I'm still able to be a stay-at-home mom, at the same time pursue my passion of sharing essential oils and natural health and wellness, and travel the world. So yeah, I'm really grateful.
Yeah, I was thinking today about this and how, really we both started our business venture while we were pregnant. Actually, my daughter was just 3 months old, but you were totally in that time where usually women get off working, and that's when you started. So I feel this can be really inspiring and empowering for many women, that being pregnant, having a child doesn't necessarily mean that you stop working. Actually, you might start in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. For me, I've always worked since I was a little girl. I always have loved having my own income, my independence, my individuality in that way. So it was no different when I became pregnant and became a mom. Being a mother is so consuming, and being a wife and being a part of a family is very consuming. It's really easy to lose that part of yourself, that part of your individuality, and kind of, I would just say your vibe of who you are. Sometimes you can get lost in everyone else's energy and environment. But being able to work has always been my way of maintaining myself.
Yeah, I resonate a lot with that. And I'm wondering, how has motherhood impacted your lifestyle, like on a daily basis, and how that, becoming a mom has changed your relationship with yourself? Like you were traveling and you were doing all the yoga and all the meditation, and how has that been?
It's completely different. It's completely 100% different. I used to meditate an hour in the morning, an hour at night, do a yoga practice, read books, read sacred text. But the funny thing is, the life lessons where you really have the opportunity to practice yoga, I have every single day now. So my yoga practice is really actually much more enhanced now, even though it looks completely different than it did before. Our lifestyle is very similar. We still travel. We take our daughter around the world, and that's great. But definitely the spiritual practice of what it used to look like and what it looks like now is very different. Now, I don't sit down and meditate an hour in the morning. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. Sometimes it's no minutes. And I just can read a line of a book and take that with me. And it really comes in my practicing of patience, my practicing of contentment, practicing of just coming back to my center a lot. We get rocked a lot being moms. We get shaken. We get pushed. We get pulled, and being able to stay grounded in those moments is by far my biggest practice and change in my life now.
Yeah. And what do you do when like you feel lost, like those moments where you feel lost in, being a mother or being a wife or being a housekeeper, like you feel like you're just like doing that all the time, and like how do you balance that with your desire and longing for giving more time to your work? And like that's how I feel very often, that I would like to have hours and hours, but sometimes you just don't have that time. So what do you do when you feel out of balance?
That's actually probably been one of the hardest transitions I've made from not being a mother to being a mother, is the time that I can devote to my work, because I really love my work and I want to give so much to it. But at the same time, my energy and space now is very limited compared to what it used to be. So for me, staying balanced in those moments where I get really frustrated because I want to do that and I want to do this, and yet I only have 1 hour or 30 minutes or sometimes even 15 minutes. It's really, and I'm learning this is a process for me, but it's really being content with where I'm at right now, the time that I have right now, the opportunities that I have right now, and really coming back to gratitude for my daughter, for my home, for my partner. And instead of wanting more, wanting to do more, wanting to achieve more, I sometimes have to release that and surrender and let go to that idea that I had before baby, that idea of where I want to be at this point in my life, or where I should be. Those are all just illusions for me, and they're not real at this point. The reality is I have a beautiful child and a home and a family, and so when I get thrown off balance and I lose it, which happens often, I lose my cool, I lose my temper, I lose my patience, I'm trying to do something else but I don't have the time or anything like that, then I put on my essential oils. Balance is my favorite one for motherhood. I use it all the time. I put on my essential oils and I take care of myself. Normally what I do is I separate from my partner and my child. I ask him to watch her, and I go for a walk, I go for a run, I go for a swim in the ocean, and I try to practice gratitude and acceptance.
Wow, I love that. I definitely have like a hyperachiever personality sometimes on, and what you're saying really just has a deep impact, and yeah, it just feels so right and beautiful. And I actually, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask you, like you just said, with the running and the swimming, like how do you actually take care of yourself? Like what are those actions?
Yeah, this has been actually recently in the last week or so, I've been pretty much forced to come back to my self-care and to come back to my spiritual practice, because I let a lot of that go for the last year in the chaos and busyness of daily life. But with certain circumstances in my family this last maybe week or two, I was really in a state of having to, like, not an option of caring for myself. If I didn't care for myself and take care of myself, I would have gone mad. I wouldn't have been able to deal with daily life and people. And I was doing this with stuffing down these emotions or these feelings. And one day I just couldn't do it anymore. It just all came out, and I was hysterical. And I realized I have to take care of this. I need to look at this. I need to, and what that actually looked like in my life was contemplation. So I have a few spiritual texts. One, well, it's interesting how the ideas of what I thought my spiritual study were and what they actually are right now are totally different. But there's a book, I used to read A Course in Miracles, and now there's this book that I was brought to, and it's called Codependency No More. And it's really about taking care of yourself and not trying to control other people in your life and other circumstances in your life. And so what that looked like for me in this time last week was reading, contemplating, reflecting, journaling, reading, contemplating, writing, walking on the beach, swimming, breathing. Sometimes I forget to breathe, practicing my yoga practice. And I was really lucky that my husband was able to take my daughter for the day. And I pretty much had 12 hours to purely focus on me. And it was a really needed and transformational experience for me. And I was able to come back home after that and be more loving and take care of them more.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And yeah, and this, I was wondering, how did you get to have your husband support you in both in your business and your desire to take care of yourself? Because I feel that it's, very important for women to feel understood in their needs of doing what they love doing, and alongside being a mother and a wife. And I've been around you and Jamie, and it's a great inspiration for me to, like, I always think about you. I always think about Jamie, like, speaking of you so highly and your business vision. Really, it's serious.
Really?
That's sweet. And that for me is a great example of a man that has totally understood his partner, and like is really there for her. And so I wonder if, like, you're just lucky or like how did you guys get to that place?
Well, Jamie has always known that I've loved to work and pursue my passion. And that's one thing that he's always really admired about me. And he was in a relationship before me, and she had no work, no passion, and her whole life was centered around him. So when he came into the relationship with me, we've talked about this, that it was very attractive for him to see me engaged in something and passionate about something and pursuing something that's separate to him. We have our combined likes and interests, but at the same time, my work is very separate to him. And in the beginning, when I bought $1,500 worth of oils, and I said, this is going to be my new business.
Yay, we're back. Okay.
You're back.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much you got of that.
I was left with you were telling me about Jamie's totally supporting you. I'm gonna take out my video.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Cassie.
I'm not sure. The last part I ended on it. Did you hear the part that the reason why I believe he's been so supportive is because I've been so passionate, enthusiastic, and motivated towards pursuing my goals, that's really, really attractive for him. He really loves seeing me lit up in my work. And that is a part of my self-care. My work is definitely a part of my self-care. It's how I feel fulfilled and how I feel inspired, and he loves seeing me like that. So for him to support that, it's a no-brainer. He loves supporting me feeling good and being inspired like that.
This is great. I hope all of our friends and sisters and co-workers are going to listen to this and have them listen to their husbands too.
Definitely.
Going back to, like, we actually work a lot with women. So I was wondering why working with women is inspiring for you.
Oh, that's a great question. I've always been drawn to work with women. I love working with women in groups. When I used to do women's empowerment groups and meditation and yoga. I love men also. I have nothing against men, but I'm really drawn to work with women because I feel like it's time. It's time for women to step up, to use their voice, to express themselves in any way they feel aligned with. I think it's easier as mothers to not nourish that part of ourselves that wants to grow, that wants to evolve, that wants to be creative and expressive. Instead, it's easy to let that part of ourselves hide underneath the daily chores and the kids and the family. And it's really easy to ignore our desires as women and especially as mothers. So that's been my passion with wanting to work with women is to really move these women into action, into purpose, into passion, into drive, so that they can create something for themselves. Because that feeling of creation, that feeling of expression is like nothing else can cover that. Nothing else can be a substitute for that. It needs to be created. It needs to be moved. It has to be worked with. And that's my real inspiration with working with women is to move them into that space of expression and creation.
I love that. Thank you. It's so good. And so when everything, I'm gonna ask this question, like what happens to you, but like in general, how we can inspire women when everything around you is going slow, or like the business is not picking up, or you're not reaching your goals in the time that you were wishing for, or when you're just feeling low of energy and inspiration. What do you do? Like, how do you keep going? Because I know you keep going, and that's why I work with you. But yeah, like what works for you when the outer world, let's say, is going on a different frequency, or it's just going slower than what you wished for?
Well, I think that's all the way that we look at it. And that happens to me so often. Things don't happen the way that I want them to happen. I plan a class and no one shows up. I reach for a goal and I don't hit it that month. Other months I do, and they're great. But some months, they don't work out the way that we want them to. And that happens a lot. That's normal. And being okay with the time frame, as well as pursuing it also, and picking yourself up again. I think that's one of the biggest challenges in this business, or running your own business in general, is that when times get hard, it's so easy to retreat. It's so much harder to look at where you need extra support, look at where you need extra love, look where you need skills, and actually be conscious of those areas of in your life that maybe need some extra attention, and put some extra attention into those spots and try again, pick up and try again, because at the end of the day, what else is there? You quit? That doesn't feel good either. So no, it doesn't feel good either. It feels horrible. And once you start quitting becomes easier. So for me, it's always just been an act of, reflecting on where the areas of my business that need work, putting the time into it, putting the energy into it, practicing, and moving forward, letting it go and moving forward, because it happens. It happens.
Yeah. And how do you see yourself, like in a couple of years? Like, what is your vision as a mom and as a successful entrepreneur?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. For me, in a couple of years, I definitely we'll have another baby, so our family will continue to grow, and our vision is to really have our home base here in Hawaii, live a few months in Australia, a few months in California, and even spend a few months in Europe. And that's totally reasonable for us, so that's exciting. And then also to have a really stable foundation in my business, which is why I love this business model with the residual income. It really allows me to take the time off that I want to while still making an income, and then work hard in the months that I choose to, and really evolve that income. So the residual income is such a huge part of my love for this business, and a huge part of why we are able to live this lifestyle. And so I see myself continuing to work with women, continuing to inspire them to express their vision and their passion and their desires, and move forward into them, and still continue this work and just see how it evolves.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
And when I say the word success, like what association do you make with the word success? What does it mean to you?
It's funny, I've been going through this. I'm so happy that you asked this question, because I used to resonate or relate success with achievement. So for me, being successful was hitting another rank or hitting a certain income or speaking on a certain stage. That for me was an idea of success. However, it's really evolved because I feel really successful now. And I may not have reached those goals that I had set out, but I've transitioned my belief around success. And now my belief around success is living in harmony. I'm really loving living in harmony, where I get to pursue my passion and work with women and teach about natural health, as well as be at home with my family, as well as travel, as well as do the other things in my life that bring me joy: surf, swim, run. And that, to me, if I'm spending more time on those things that make me feel good, that are fun, that are enriching to my life, that is more successful to me now than reaching another rank in my business or another level in my business. So I love the combination of both, but it's more about harmony now for me than it is about achievement.
Yeah, beautiful. I love what you're saying about harmony, and I'm wondering what role does financial freedom play in this harmony mandala of your life, and how important that is compared to I don't know if there were times in your life, or for sure you know other women that that struggle, that put so much energy during the day in those thoughts of not having enough. And so what would you say to a woman that is not living in a sense of abundance or in a sense of financial freedom? What would you tell them?
Well, I think it really starts with actually looking at what you really need. A lot of us consume so much more than what we actually need, which then creates this sense of urgency for more money, or this lack of money, because we're living a lifestyle that is not in alignment with our finances. So a lot of us are living just in a, spending too much. So that would be the first thing I would ask them is look at how you can simplify your life. Look at what you don't need to buy, what you do. Obviously your basic needs need to be met: your home, your food, your your basic needs, but also letting go of some of the extra stuff that you don't need. Maybe that new sweater, or even going out to eat is so expensive. So little stuff like that, if you can simplify your life, you won't need as much money. You won't need as much money, but at the same time, if that's something that you want, then simplifying your life feels really good, because when you do that, you're also opening up the space of, like you said, abundance. You let go of that need for more money, and instead you're enjoying what you have. And when you're enjoying what you have, the flow comes so much easier. The financial flow comes so much easier. And that's when it feels really good to have financial freedom, when it hasn't been a stress in your life, and instead it's been a pleasure creating it. That's when it feels really good to have the financial freedom and to have that extra money to buy the sweater you want, or to go to the dinner that you want, because you've put in the time of living a simplistic life and not stress too much about the money unless you're really needing it. But I really love that idea of living a simple life until the money's coming in.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're just talking about the law of attraction, and like just creating that space in your conscious and especially the unconscious mind to receive, because it's there. So I love the way you word things, make me feel that you're in that mindset of abundance, and it, like, you're open to receive it. And It's very beautiful. And I have one more question before we close, and we touched upon it a little bit earlier, but I wanted to ask you, what is your main spiritual resource, like that place probably within yourself that you call home, and that is your, inner guidelines and set of values? Like, what is that for you?
That's a really great question. Probably my number one, which connects with everything that I do now, is honesty. And I came to this realization when I was living in Australia, and I had a boyfriend at the time, and he was in love with me. And I had said I had loved him. I had said we were going to get married, all this stuff to really make him happy and make the relationship comfortable. And we ended up breaking up, my doing. And after that, I committed to always being honest with myself. Because if I was honest with myself, I wouldn't have devoted so much time to that relationship. And I wouldn't have lied to him, saying that I was in love with him and committing to future plans. So for me, in everything now that I do, it's really important for me to be honest with myself to start. And then through that, expressing that honesty to the people involved, if there are some. But the main thing for me is being honest with myself. Does this feel good? Does this feel right? Is this really what I want? Knowing yes or no, and really living in alignment to that truth for myself is very important to me. It's extremely important to me now. And it covers all aspects: my relationship, my family life, my work life, my joys. Does this bring me joy? That's a great question. Sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it does. That's probably my underlying, most spiritual principle that I live with.
Good one. Really good one. Yeah. So, well, in fact, like my 2017 New Year's resolution was utter sincerity. So
love that.
It's working out very, very beautifully, and not always in the easiest way, but I feel it's conducive of truth in our life, and that's what we want.
Yeah, it's so much easier to tell a white lie. It's so much easier to say that you're sick because you don't want to go to an event, instead of saying that really it's not for you tonight. It's a lot harder to speak in truth than it is to cover things up with a little fib, or to make things more comfortable for other people, and for yourself. But why live in untruth? Why At the end of the day, it's who you are. And when you can really honestly look at yourself and know that, yes, this is who I am, this is the life for me, because I've lived in total transparency and honesty, then that is when you can live in harmony. That is when you have the financial abundance. That is when everything flows, because you have worked. Even if things aren't comfortable, you know that you are living in truth, and that feels great.
I'm getting the full transmission of what you said, and it feels really good. So I'm really happy that I asked you these questions, because I've got to know you even better, and I have even more love for you than before, if possible. And yeah, I made this women's wisdom collective flourish in this way that I feel it's really inspiring. And so thank you so much for your time. And
thank you for having me. It was fun.
It was. Bye, Cassie. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.